Welcome to day 30 of NTI. Can you believe that? We're already 30 days into this. Wow. So, let's go ahead and go over yesterday's exit ticket, which probably was not as good as the day before's. Adding always seems to be a little bit more successful than subtracting. But, in that being said, the key here is identifying your mistake and helping yourself not to make that mistake again, right? Especially since you're moving on to 6th grade now. You really want to think about what types of mistakes am I making? How can I not do them again? So let's start with the first one. 9 and 8 tenths minus 2 and 12 hundredths. So I placed it on my little table here. 9 and 8 tenths, yet you see the 8 crossed off, but there's a reason for that. And then 2 and 12 hundredths. So I couldn't take 2 away from nothing. There was nothing there, right? So I had to borrow from the tenths place, which is why I crossed off that 8 and left 7 tenths. Well, I brought 10 of them over here. Now I can take 2 away from 10, leaving me 8 hundredths. And then 7 tenths minus 1 tenth gives you 6 tenths. And 9 minus 2 gives you 7, giving you the answer of 7 and 68 hundredths. Let's look at number 2. And I apologize for the shadow. Apparently it's not quite sunny out today. It's rainy and drizzly and cloudy, so it's casting more of a shadow here in the classroom. Number 2, 4 and 3 hundredths minus 3 and 37 hundredths. So I had 4 and 3 hundredths, 3 and 37 hundredths. But I couldn't take 7 away from this 3 here. So I had to borrow or steal or wherever you want to call it from the tenths place. Well, there was nothing in the tenths place. It was 0 there. So I had to go all the way over to the ones place and borrow, steal from there, which left me 3 ones. I was able to give 10, think of it like $1 bill breaking up into 10 dimes. So I was able to give 10 dimes to the tenths place. But then the whole purpose of doing that was so I could borrow over here in the hundreds place, in the pennies. So I broke up one of those dimes into 10 pennies, which then gave me 13 pennies, which left me 9 dimes. So I have $3, 9 dimes, and 13 pennies. Well, if you added that all up, it would still be $4.03. So I'm going to repeat that again. Just so you know, I haven't changed, I haven't subtracted anything yet. $3, 9 dimes, 13 pennies would still be $4.03. So now I'll go ahead and actually do the subtracting. Take 7 away from 13, I get 6. Take 3 away from 9 dimes, I get 6. Take 3 away from 3, I get 0, leaving me 66 hundredths. You could, if you're looking at this as money, you could say 66 cents. All right, moving on to number 3 here. 7 and 6 tenths minus 93 hundredths. So 7 and 6 tenths. Here's my 93 hundredths. Can't take 3 away from 0, which is what was originally there. Nothing. Okay, so I borrowed from the tenths place, crossed off that 6, made it into a 5 at first. Then I gave 1 dime, broke it into 10 pennies to give me 10 in the hundredths place. 10 minus 3 gave me 7. Now I come over here and I have a 5 minus 9, which I can't do. So I had to borrow from the ones place. All right, left me 6 ones. Took one of those ones, broke it into 10 dimes, which now gave me 5 dimes plus 10 dimes equals 15 dimes. 15 minus 9 gave me 6. So now I have 6 minus 0 gave me 6, so 6 and 67 hundredths was the answer to your third exit ticket question. All right, so today we are still sticking with decimals, but we are multiplying a decimal number by a whole number. A decimal number by a whole number. So let's start off somewhat easier, okay? So we're going to take 2 46/100 times it by the 5. All right? How many decimal places do I have there? Think to yourself. You should see I have 2 decimal places, the tenths and the hundredths. So I'm just going to write myself a little note saying 2 decimal places. Okay? So what that also means is I need to bring that decimal down and remind myself that my solution should have 2 decimal places. Now I can go ahead and multiply like I know how to do. 5 times 6 equals 30. So that 0 will go here, the 3 will go up here from the 30. 4 times 5 equals 20, plus 3 equals 23. Carry the 2 of 23. 5 times 2 equals 10, plus 2 equals 12. So that gives me the answer of 12 and 30/100. You could also look at this as saying 12 and 3/10, technically, because that 0 doesn't have to be there. But I left it there to show that there are 2 decimal places, just like I have 2 decimal places here. But if this is a little confusing for you, just write the answer of 12 and 30/100 to remind yourself that there are 2 decimal places. Okay, so let's move on to number 2. I'm going to have you do number 2. Take a note of that as to how many decimal places, and if you can't see, that's a decimal right there. Okay, I'm going to hit the pause button and allow you some time to solve it. Okay, I stopped here just to help remind you that there are 2 decimal places in my problem. So I need to make sure I have 2 decimal places down here. Like right now, I'm doing 2 decimal places technically times 0 decimal places, because there are no decimal places here, and it's just a 7. Okay. Later on, in a couple days, we're going to focus on how to do a decimal times a decimal. So go ahead and hit the pause button and finish this problem. So in solving this, what you should have received is 8 times 7 gave you 56. Okay. 5 times 7 gave you 35 plus 5, which gives you 40, 40. And then 3 times 7 equals 21, plus 4 equals 25. Keeping the fact that I have 2 decimal places, my answer should be 25 and 6/100. Now, same kind of concepts that we're doing here. Stick with the same pattern. The only difference here is we're going to have one extra step for the next problem. You're doing 74 and 23/100 times a 2-digit number. So think back to the 2 different strategies we used when multiplying a 2-digit number. Now I recognize in most of my Zoom classes, most students like the second strategy where we broke up the 26. Okay? So you might do a strategy of 74 and 23/100 times 26, which was the first strategy that we worked on. Or you might do it where we break up the 26 and do 74 and 23/100 times 20 and 74 and 23/100 times 6. You pick whichever strategy you want to do that works best for you. You may hit the pause button now to work on solving this problem. Okay, so I have strategy 1, which you might have used here, or strategy 2. So we're starting with strategy 1, okay? 6 times 2 equals 18. Carried that 1, got the 8 here. 2 times 6 equals 12, plus 1 equals 13, so there's the 1 and the 3 from 13. 6 times 4 equals 24, plus 1, plus the 1 equals 25. 25. And then 6 times 7 equals 42, plus the 2 gave me 44. Same concept over here with strategy 2. I still get the same solution of 445 and 38 hundredths. Now I say 38 hundredths because there were 2 decimal places. So I kept 2 decimal places. Now, if I remember correctly, most students, when talking with students during the Zoom sessions, they didn't make the mistake up here. It was down here in this next row. So make sure you bring down your 0 to hold your place value, because you're doing 20 technically times 3 gives you 6. 20 times 2 gave me 4. That's a hard 4 to see, but I'll fix it for you. And 20 times 4 gives you 8. And then 20 times 7 gives you 14 there. So then I'll go ahead and add them. But before I do that, notice that the same exact solution came over here when I actually just took 20 and I had expanded to 26 to 20 and 6. I also got 1,484 and 60 hundredths. Keeping in mind, there are 2 decimal places. 1, 2, 1, 2. Add them up and got 1,929 and 98 hundredths. So we're going to do the same exact concept with this next one, okay? So think about, is there a specific place that you made a mistake here that you don't want to make on the next problem? Okay, moving on to number 4. Okay, for number 4, here we are with 325 and 487 thousandths times 42. How many place values are there? 1, 2, 3. So your answer should have 3 place values. Go ahead and hit the pause button to solve this problem. Either use strategy 1 or use strategy 2. Remembering, I say that because we have a 2-digit number here. Hit that pause button now. All right, so stick with me here. There's a lot going on this board. So the first strategy, I'm going to do 7 times 2 gave me, I got to get rid of those guys. 7 times 2 gave me 14. You see the 14 over here. So it gave me 2 times 7 equals 14. Gave me the, so carry that 1 up there. Then 2 times 8 equals 16 plus 7 gives me 17. 2 times 4 equals 8 plus 1 equals 9. 2 times 5 equals 10. Got that 10 there. Carried that 1. 2 times 2 equals 4 plus 1 equals 5. Sorry about that. And then 2 times 3 equals 6. But wait a second. My answer here is different than my answer over here, which caused me to get 2 different answers. What happened? Can you find it? Hopefully you just found it in the fact that I forgot to carry over the 1 right there, which would cause this to be a 7, which would change my solution to being a 5 right there, which supports my answer over here of 13,670 and 454 thousandths. Check your answer here to make sure you didn't make a mistake. That might be the mistake. So at this point, I got to wrap it up. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.